Hey, I'm Kev, Mr. Scott. Welcome back to Valentino Rossi the game, as we've got some emails to check, and we've got a new objective. We're doing well, so they think we should aim for at least 6th place. I'm aiming for more though, as we are heading to the TT Circuit Assen, the classic Netherlands track, and we've got to change the race conditions back to what we normally have, the 25% qualifying and the race. And let's see how Kev goes.
Hello to all the viewers watching back home. We're joining you live from the TT Assen circuit.
Okay, who bought the rain? So much a fixture around this circuit. It's a bit like Spa and or F1, where Assen can just have some deluges appear out of nowhere, and it's like we're having it this qualifying that. But Ducati's traditionally very good in the wet. Features some of the best races of Valentino Rossi's career with Ducati. Remember in France, and 5 years ago now, where he finished second, helped by a damp track, some wet conditions. I think it was 5 years ago. It might have been the race 6 years ago. It was one of them. You're seeing historic events, but in real life, I remember Dovizioso doing very well on the wet round it a couple of years back. Almost won the race until Marquez used some wonderful riding to overhaul the Ducati rider. And of course, Dovizioso got his first win in MotoGP in wet conditions at Donington Park in 2009 aboard the Honda, when he beat Randy DePugny and Colin Edwards on the Tech 3 Yamaha. One of the Americans' last great rides in MotoGP. Same for the Frenchman, I think, as well, where injuries really start to pile up for him. So it should be decent on this qualifying effort on the Ducati. As we make our way into the final sector around this Assen track. Do love this circuit. Used to be held on a Sunday, not Sunday, the Saturday, the race is, until they got changed. I think last year the race being held on the Sunday, because it's traditional to hold it on the Saturday, but to help improve attendance, we moved it to the Sunday, and I hope it works out for them. Let's see how well we've done on that qualifying effort. We've done very well, top of the leaderboards in Q1, ahead of Hector Barber. As once again the Tech 3 of Bradley Smith just misses out by just over a tenth. So happy with that qualifying effort. Of course, we're hoping to do better though in Q2. We'll be right up at the sharp end of the grid as we improve our braking. Rain abilities going through the roof, throttle management and cornering. So on our first effort, no real mistakes there, just hitting the apex has been pretty smooth as well on the power. Hoping to repeat that, of course, with this qualifying effort. Getting a bit cheeky on the exit of the final chicane. Here we go, approaching the first corner, braking a bit early I feel, but looking for the smoothest run through it in second gear. We're not going to be approaching first gear, I don't think, on this qualifying effort. To go through the kink in third, then down to second for the double right, which is virtually one corner really. And the tightest corner of them all, into the left-hander in second gear, feathering the throttle out of it. For this long, bendy straight for a couple of fast corners. First right-hand kink down to fifth, hitting that apex. Down the third for the left, slightly wide. Then we go into a very tricky right-hand corner, so easy to back the bike into it like I did there, get the back end out. But it's also got a bit of a groove you can settle into and hit the apex of that corner. Then the left-hander down the second gear again. All these second gears corners so tricky, especially in these conditions. And then we've got to build the speed so carefully through these double right-handers. So easy to lose the traction here, especially with worn tyres. And through that right-hand kink, barely lifting. And barely lifting through the right, left. Then braking hard for the left. Going slightly wide. And now the infamous final chicane. Down to second gear. Going to keep the apex. And try and straighten up the second part of it to get a good run out of it. And that was a very good qualifying effort, almost into the 38, 39.1. Very happy with that. That's a big step up from a Q1 effort as we skip time. And we'll be right at the front. Look at that. I said the Ducati was good in wet conditions, and it's proved it once again with Kev Cannot taking another pole. Ahead of Lorenzo, Marcus, Rossi. Then here's Ducati teammates Inoni and Dovi. Vinales top Suzuki in 7th, ahead of Pedrosa down in 8th, Quattro 9th, and then the Espargos and Hector Barbara in 12th. So once again, qualifying has worked out very well for Kev Cannot, but can the race work out for him? Just like it did in Barcelona.
Hello and welcome to the 8th event of the MotoGP season. Today we're here in Assen, where the Dutch Grand Prix will be getting underway any moment now.
Very interesting conditions. Got a wet track, but look, dry weather. So will the track kind of dry up as the race goes on? I'm not sure they have that feature in the MotoGP games, but it'd be interesting to see that as the race goes on, how the grip level feels, if we get a bit more confident. You can see outside of the top 12, right at the back is Rabat. But yeah, as I said, I hope we do well because we need it. Need another win on the board.
Just a few more seconds for the race to start. Will those riders on the front row be able to make the most of their advantage? Or will those pre-race nerves get the better of them?
Oh, let's hope not. As we have the engine on the grid. And the Dutch Grand Prix gets underway. 7 laps of madness probably as we get a bit of a squealy start there in Marquez and Lorenzo past. Trying to hold off our teammate Dovi and Rossi. But it looks like we let our Italian teammate through, and now here comes Rossi, here comes Iannone. So down to 5th, not a good start at all. Very tricky conditions. I'm not sure I have the pace, honestly. But we'll see as this race goes on. Keep it in 2nd, being very careful on the power out of the corner. It's the first lap, we don't want to bin it already. We want to stay in this position. Been very easy as well. Someone went wide in front. Was that Lorenzo? Putting it to the inside of the doctor. Our mentor, don't forget. We're still in the VR46 Academy. Even though we've graduated to MotoGP level. Which is a bit strange. And just shows the limitation of career mode here, where you're still doing this stuff for us, even though you're now battling him in the top class. Doesn't really make too much sense when you think of it. And schooling him as well through that right-hander. And past Dovi into 4th, oh 3rd, even though we run wide. And now there's Marcos and Lorenzo, just like on the warm-up lap, battling in front. And so that was a very good left-hander. Looking to the outside of Lorenzo, but we're letting Marcos through, and oh, he's trying to move already. That kind of slows him up there and us by, but then we got all over the exit curve, so we're back down to 3rd at the end of this first lap. Braking early once again for the first corner, and here comes Rossi from nowhere. What a dive bomb from the doctor. He's going slowly through that first right, and we don't want Lorenzo to get away. Just like in real life when he was with Yamaha, when he got the lead, sometimes he just rode beautifully, rode into the distance, and no one saw him for the rest of the race. So going wheel to wheel with Marquez, up into 2nd, I think, as Lorenzo goes wide once again into that right-hander. Very fast corner, you don't want to be doing that every lap. Okay. But now we're right on his tail. Definitely got the pace round Assen, but as I said, not sure about these conditions. But it's pretty good in these first few laps though. Tyre wear should not be too bad as well on the wet. It's a bit harder. So you shouldn't be worrying about tyre wear too much at the end. And look, the tyres are virtually hardly worn in these first few laps. So you take the lead past Lorenzo through that right-hand kick. Now can we make the break at the front, like we did in Barcelona, using all the curbs into this left-hander. Got to be careful in this final corner though. They can dive down the inside, and we're being cautious in these first couple of laps. Don't have to worry too much though. It looks like to go across the line onto the third lap. Do much better than our qualifying effort, do we? No, 38.1. So conditions are better than qualifying. Of course, got no rain falling. But the track feels about the same. So it's perhaps not drying out that much at the moment. Perhaps won't do that for the whole race. So go through those right-hand kinks, being very careful, and hooking up the apex. Just less happened there. My voice almost broke there going through the left. I was so cautious, so wary. Way before when there's Marcus and Rossi are battling for a podium behind. We've got Lorenzo almost a second behind us. Let's go slightly wide into the left-hander though. That's onto the wet stuff. That's pretty good for our wet tyres. So we go back in the bike into the right-hander though. Put out another half second on Lorenzo. We are making a break for it. Screw the tyre wear managing these tyres. As I say, we perhaps don't really need to do it. The tyre wear looking so good on this third lap. Keeping it in third gear though, going into the first right. And we build the speed, build the revs through the second. And now we floor it, out of it. And lifting through the right-hand kink. Pulled out another couple of tenths on the end, so we definitely got the pace in these conditions, it looks like. As that's better on the left. A bit wide still, but I'll take it. It's all very wide into the right. The final chicane. Got a good run through it. Good pace on that lap as well. Another 38.1. If we're going to consistently drill those, I'll be very happy for the rest of the race. As Marcus and Rossi still deciding who wants to get the final podium place behind. Not much overtaking this race, it seems like. Just Marcus and Rossi battling. Bit strange to see in these conditions. But we'll see with the finishing order what happened lower down the field. Right at the end. As there goes Marcus back past Rossi. Renzo seems to be holding second all by himself, while we're galloping away into the distance. Over 3 seconds is our lead. Halfway through this race. It looks like it's the race Kev Camelot dreamed of when he woke up this morning. Seen the rain in Assen. With this Ducati as well, very good in these conditions. 4 second lead now. Marching away at the front. As I said, Assen, pretty good track for me previously. Seems to be proving it once again in qualifying. Fantastic that. One of the best I've ever done on this game, I feel like. In qualifying, and then getting that pass on Lorenzo through that right-hand king. And since then, it's been pretty easy using that curb on the outside and then hooking up the inside curb. You can finally say that again. So you brake just before that white line into the final chicane. And getting onto third gear, fourth, into the 37s, we dip in into 37.4, fastest lap of the race, and a 5 second lead on Lorenzo behind on this fifth lap, looking so good. Just got to keep it together now. Sometimes I haven't been that great at, I admit, this season. You know, at the start of the race, especially in the res, that first lap was horrendous. And then Mugello, it was a total mare. So I got to get in the second half of the race, so Kev Camelot keep it together in Assen. Take a win around one of the classic circuits on the calendar. So go slightly wide into the left, or the classic circuit, should I say. Assen been around for over 60 years, almost 70 years now. Used to be much longer, used to be much faster. In the last decade, it's been, you know, tightened up into this current layout. And you see the track is actually drying out. Bit of a feature of previous MotoGP games, I remember. At least visually, it's drying out. Handling-wise, still feels pretty similar. Start the race. And you see pace-wise, pretty similar. So go through the left. Approaching the final chicane and the penultimate lap of this race. Very important to hook up that right so you can set up the left and straighten up as early as possible out of the chicane. You stick in the 37s. mucking up that right-hander. We are at home with this bike around this circuit. Probably the most impressive rider Kev Camelot's career so far. He's had some good ones in the Moto3, Moto2 classes, perhaps not this good at MotoGP level. Maybe his first win in Malaysia last season was right up there. But for domination, this is even better than last time out. So we get down to second gear, we can afford that now. Tyre wear looking so good on the right hand side. Making sure we're not backing up the bike too much into that right hander. On the back end out too far, so we can't save it. I remember that was a big feature in, I think it was MotoGP 15 on these MotoGP bikes, where it was so easy to get the back end out there. Seems to be less of a feature in this game. So you build the speed up into third, through the right. Now floor it. Slight lift, even slighter lift than previously through that right hander. And yeah, the conditions do feel like they've improved. Do feel like I'm a bit grippier on this penultimate lap. As now we approach the final one. Nicely done that final chicane into the 37s once again. Very consistent this race. 38, 38 now the 37s since we've dipped into them. And no answer behind. I probably could have done this race on realistic difficulty. Now, there's been a criticism of milestone games in the past that the difficulty has been a bit easy. I can definitely feel that when I'm at Moto 2 level, perhaps sometimes Moto 3, even occasionally now MotoGP level, but I don't know, I feel like it's, yeah, perhaps got to make the game slightly harder. Hope we could do that for MotoGP 70 around, especially around like the Circuit of the Americas. That is ridiculous how slow the AI are in that first section. I'm sure they're looking at that, especially for the new engine, Unreal Engine 4, and that'd be a feature of MotoGP 18. For the transition year of MotoGP 17, not expecting too many changes to the AI. As I said, last year of working with that engine, their own engine as well. They made it for the MotoGP games when they got the license around 4 or 5 years ago now. It has served them well. They really have improved as a developer, Martin, especially in the last year, bringing out so many games. It seems with Variety they've turned the corner. So, inking that deal, getting the Unreal Engine for this year, for MXGP3, for Gravel. So hopefully see them turn the corner once again. Just like Kev Camelot has done in the past couple of races, another thrilling victory for the 44-year-old. I know it got a bit boring, but he's won by almost 9 seconds. Fast as that by a country mile from the Yamahas of Lorenzo. Rossi in and out that bout for third. Dovi up to fourth. Good race for my teammate there ahead of Marquez. He dropped down in the latter stage of that race. Ian only 6th, Inar the 7th. Pedrosa didn't make any movements from 8th on the grid. Then Espargos round out the top 10 with the last point going to Hector Barbia. So not a great race for Ducati in general, but great for the man who won it and is now up to 4th in the stands ahead of his Ducati teammates, ahead of Iannone, and into triple figures now points wise, but still 60 points back of Rossi. He's just so consistent scoring those points. And he's 10 points ahead of Lorenzo as we're catching Marcus for third in the championship. And further down the order, we can see that Espargo's got his way up into the top 10. That is pole behind his brother. And in the constructor standards, 27 points is now the gap between Yamaha and Ducati. Honda in third. They're falling back now, 6 to 8 points behind Yamaha. And Suzuki are now just 20 points behind Honda in fourth. So just a race and weekend that Kev Camelot needed as we approach halfway mark of this season. He's in a rich vein of form to improve our rain ability, of course, our braking and cornering as well.
Hello, we're joining you live from the Sachsenring circuit in Germany.
And now welcome to Germany and the unusual Sachsenring circuit. We're down the back straight approaching the penultimate corner. And once again, we got some wet conditions. It says light rain are the conditions, but look how dry this track is. Not sure about the light rain. As we come out the final corner. Fantastic circuit, Sachsenring. As I said, unusual, so many right-hand corners. But brilliant undulation. So many tight corners, heavy braking zones as well. Beginning of this first corner. So easy to run wide there. Took it accidentally in third gear. Should have taken it in second. But this first section, it's all about hooking up these slow corners. Getting the rhythm, getting in the flow. And now we're going to build up the speed out of this first section. Change it down to second, to the left. As now we've got the fast left-hand corners coming up. First one in third gear, over the crest of the hill, then down, and then rising once again for another third gear corner. As we're about a second ahead of Crutcher, that is, on the Honda. You're going slightly right over the crest of the hill. You can take that so much faster through the lefts. Then the right, onto this back, straight down the hill. Now it is over a second gap to the Honda, which is a lot around this short circuit as we hook up this penultimate corner in second gear. Now here comes the rain. Have we got a lap in just in time? As we go up the hill, go towards the line. I think we beat Quattro's time comfortably, a 22.3. That will be tough to beat now, especially with the rain falling. Looks like we set a time just at the right time as well. And yeah, 2.5 seconds ahead of Crutcher, who makes it through just ahead of Petrucci, with the Apria's right at the back behind Rabat. So great qualifying one. But it looks like it's going to be trickier for qualifying too, as we improve our rain ability and throttle management, even though we didn't have much rain there. And rain ability going through the roof. Trying to get out of the 60s, it looks like, with everything else in the 70s and physical condition in the 80s. I thought with the rain falling, it would cross over into this qualifying 2 session, but it looks like the rain has stopped. And so we've got very similar conditions to our qualifying effort in Q1. Can we do it as good as that? As we really gain time in this final section. So let's see if we can do that. Let's get a bit squirrely on the exit the final corner. Look how undulating this circuit is. We've got to brake a bit like in Mugello into that tight right hand hairpin they have there. Even tighter right hand hairpin here, but again we've got to brake just before the crest of the hill before it dips down. Take it in second gear. We've lost almost half a second to Jorge in this first section, but I expect that in this first section. It's the second after that where we're especially strong, as you've seen. So we drop down to second for this right left-hander. So many left-handers on this circuit. I said it was so many right-handers at the beginning. It is so many left-handers around this circuit. That's why it's unusual. So many fast ones as well, so we've gained that time back. 0.2 of a second ahead of the Yamaha rider. And go over the brow of the hill, so easy to run right there if you go too much speed. Just being very careful with the throttle through down the hill to that right-hander. And there's almost half a second gap now behind. Now penultimate corner again, so easy to run wide. And once again, here comes the rain. The final couple of corners. But it played out so well in our previous lap when the rain came. Let's see what it does again. So a bit wide in that final corner, but it looks like we picked up the bike early. And we're doing another 22 lap, 22.7. Almost 1.5 seconds faster than Jorge. Is it just like Assen? Let's see, let's look at the grid, and it is. Let's look at that. The Renzo markers are at the exact same time, but Renzo set his time first. So he gets second on the grid ahead of the Honda rider. Hey, good lap from Danny in fourth ahead of Rossi, Iannone, Dovi, Vinales and Espargaro round out the third row. Then Crutcher rounds out the top 10. So another fantastic qualifying performance from Kev Canard, but can he carry over to the race just like he did in the previous couple of rounds to improve our rain ability, of course, and our agility.
Hello from the Sachsenring, and welcome to our live coverage of the German Grand Prix. The preparation.
As here we are on the starting grid. With Kev Camelot getting a bit of a unusual getaway there on this warm-up lap. As he looked down the field, it's so similar to Assen. We got another wet track. But again, it may dry out as the race goes on, and now the Aprilia boys right at the back.
While the marshals wave the green flag, the riders can focus their thoughts and prepare to race another German Grand Prix here at the Sachsenring circuit.
It's like Gavin Everett wasn't happy with me interrupting him as he introduced the race. Where we go, away for an 8 lap race on this short circuit. And again, not the best start. Allows Lorenzo through. We're trying to dive down his inside into this first corner. As we do that, and just about stay ahead of the Yamaha. This is where they're strong. So he perhaps expected to be in second exiting this, but we're keeping ahead of Lorenzo just about. As he's back with Iannone with a fantastic start up to third. Nope, make that fourth as Marcus is now into third. Here we go through the left, we're trying to keep this lead until the second after that. It's a bit faster now. So we go wide into that left though. So almost second advantage has been right out by Lorenzo. He dabbed the brakes over the brow of the hill. Over the top of the hill. And now down it. Through the right. We kept the lead. We've got a second lead on Marquez behind. That's great news having the Honda rider behind as well for the championship. And Pedrosa up to third. Danny! Welcome to the championship. What are you doing? So the Yamahas are struggling. It seems like. As the Honda guys are battling for a podium position on this first lap. We go on the second now. We got a 2.3 second lead. Ridiculous. So yeah, I think these conditions actually play into our hands. Is it safe to say? So yeah, the Honda guys really are battling for that podium position early part of this race as we gained a 10th in that first section. Unusual to see that. Normally you lose time. As you saw, we almost did on the first lap. We're trying to keep in this dry groove, just like in Assen. About half power through that left-hander. Now trying to be a bit faster, going slightly right to get into that left. As the gap is now 3 seconds, dabbing the brakes over the hill, through the left. And now through the right. Now we're full power. Once again, don't have to worry about tyre wear much. It looks like we got barely any tyre wear at all these first couple of laps. For the penultimate corner. It's so easy to go wide into these corners around the Sachsenring because of the undulation. That last corner's a bit more favourable to you because you're going uphill, brake a bit later. Bit easy to hit the apex, but so hard for this first corner to hit it. So easy to outbrake yourself going down the hill as well. That corner's just going away from me, so he did a mid-22 already on qualifying pace. It's a fantastic performance from Kev Cammett once again in these conditions. Proven to be a bit of a wet weather rider, it seems like. As once again Pedrosa passes Marquez behind. Fantastic battle for the Honda pair behind for that final podium spot. On this third lap, I know it's been a bit boring this episode for action, but it's just what we need for the championship, especially if you're going to win it for Ducati. Be the first rider in a decade to do that. Since Casey Stoner, the only guy to win it on a Ducati, the only guy who looks like he's going to win it on the Ducati as well. Perhaps Lars Capirossi, a couple of years before him, he was pretty close. The year before actually, in 2006. That crazy championship between Hayden. Of course, we've got in our thoughts at the moment. In real life, he's still in a critical condition in hospital after that frightening accident. Cycling on the roads, getting hit. And I really do hope the American pulls through, like everyone I see. Such a likeable guy. And it's going to be the episode where I do talk about him as well. Before the accident, so of course I'll annotate that and warn about that, but yeah, such a likeable guy, the American. I'd never I've never seen someone celebrate a championship so much as he did back in 2006. So much relief as well. Just all the emotion poured out once he crossed the line. As I said, I had a tough year with Honda this year in World Superbikes, but now he's having the fight of his life, and I said really do wish him well. Wish as well Bourdais, Sebastian Bourdais, as I record this the Sunday of Indy 500 qualifying, and on the Saturday he had one of the most horrific accidents I've seen around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but it was almost Gordon Smiley-esque, where in 1982 the American corrected the car and went head on into the wall and died instantly. But I'm very happy to say that Bourdais didn't even lose consciousness in that crash. Over 100 G he experienced, and thanks to safety enhancements in recent years, safety bad in the past 15 years from IMS, Tony George, all who have been involved in that project. When safety barriers, they needed a lot of work when they first came in, but now they are lifesavers, and it proved it on that Saturday in qualifying for the Indy 500, the 101st run of it. We got the St. Hill Metro safety crew as well. Got there in under 10 seconds since the impact. 10 seconds. There's no better safety crew in the world. Hill Metro safety team, in my honest opinion. They proved it once again, that Bourdais accident. And we got the St. Diara as well for the tub. The DW12 tub. Which has saved another life once again. I helped save it. Where there are actually improvements that had to be made to the sides after, in Fontana 2013, Justin Wilson had an accident where he got hit in the side, and that broke his pelvis, so they had to strengthen up the sides of the car, help improve absorbing the impact on the sides, and help with the driver's seat as well, put a bit more layers around them, help absorb the impact. And even though Bourdais suffered, a broken hip, fractured pelvis, thanks to those enhancements, it wasn't worse. So he will be out for the season, but I wish the Frenchman a speedy recovery. One of my favourite drivers in IndyCar, but then I say that about almost every driver in IndyCar. Such a likeable group of drivers, and massive respect to what they do week in, week out. Just highlighting it once again with that accident, over 230 miles per hour. He was the fastest guy as well on Fast Friday, and he was the fastest guy in his first 2 qualifying laps as well. The only guy in the 231s, I think, for the first 2 laps as well in qualifying. So from a competitive standpoint, a huge shame for Dale Coyne and Bourdais, where this could have been their year. It was the year of the little man, of Dale Coyne, with Bourdais leading the championship into his 2 DNFs last couple of races in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis and Phoenix, where he barely competed at that. And so he's looking to bounce back in the Indy 500, and he definitely looked like he had the pace. And for Honda as well, having an experienced guy up there with Scott Dixon leading the charge in the championship. And in the race as well, with the Andretti's, with the Chip Ganassis, looking so strong Honda once again in the month of May. Of course, won it with Alexander Rossi last year. The rookie in the 100th edition could not have wrote the script any better. With Brian Herter also winning the 100th race, as well as the 100th anniversary race in 2011 with Dan Weldon. So what a double for Brian Herter. He's going to be immortalised at IMS, I feel, once it's all said and done. He deserves it as well. So yeah, Honda looking extremely strong. Only 1 Penske in the Fast 9 with Will Power. And that was early in qualifying, so it highlights how impressive that qualifying effort was from Power compared to his teammates. And then you got Ed Coulter guys who came in late in qualifying, but had the pace anyway. And Ed Coulter fastest on Saturday, looking to grab his 3rd pole at Indy for the 500. Obviously Abbott's in 2013, 2014, if I remember off the top of my head. And J.R. Hildebrand as well, once again showing how good he is around the place which so cruelly denied him victory in 2011 when he was trying to lap Charlie Kimball. The final corner, the final lap, out the groove, went into the wall, finished with 3 wheels in second place to Dan Weldon and Herter, as I said. And an entry which I also think Sam Smith was involved in. I can't remember if it was that or the unfortunately fateful one in Las Vegas that year, but he definitely was involved in. But yeah, looking forward to Indy 500 qualifying later today, at least today. I'm recording this, I'm probably going to see this video up after the Indy 500 race has been done. So I'm going to have lots to talk about that. So we're actually on the final lap of this race now. I know it's flying by. That's what happens when I talk about Indy and IndyCar and playing Valentino Rossi the game as well when we're in a groove like this with Kev Camelot on the Ducati. Coming through the final couple of corners to take another win and another step towards the top of the championship battle. An important step as well, so we're almost halfway through the season as well. And it's been very successful this episode with these changeable conditions just seeming to work out on this Ducati, which is very good in these conditions. And Kev Camelot seems to be very good as well. But barely a foot wrong in the Sachsenring. Barely a foot wrong in Assen. And it's another victory on the Ducati as you cross the line. Brilliant result. As fastest lap by almost 2.5 seconds. Almost 14 seconds ahead of the Renzo. Pedrosa in third. Ahead of Rossi, Inoni, Dovi. Marquez down to 7th. Poor result for the Spaniard. With Vinales and the Espargos rounding out the top 10. And Noni Hernandez getting the final point. Good to see on the Ducati. So in the championship, up to 3rd place ahead of Marquez. And now just 48 points behind Rossi. Less than 2 race wins behind the Doctor, who's just 3 points ahead of Lorenzo. What a fantastic couple of races for the leading Ducati rider now, as Inoni's in 5th. And not much changes behind, apart from Hernandez scoring his first point of the season, now in 18th in the championship. As Yamaha now have a 22-point gap over Ducati, less than a race win, with Honda in 3rd, Suzuki 4th, and Aprilia in 5th. So what a fantastic round once again for Kev Camelot, getting some very important points for the championship. And look at all those skills getting improved. Everything apart from throttle management and agility has been improved.
Hi, a few teams have got in touch. If you're interested, you can find their offers in team list.
So we're getting some more contract offers, but we're sticking to the Ducati. No surprise after those couple of races. And next time out, we're going to cross the border to Austria and the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. Our race objective is 6th position, but I think we're going to continue this streak of winning, I think. So will he do it? Find out next time out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you then.